Hello and welcome to Freedom Watch, your daily dose of raw liberty, streaming online at foxnews.com. I'm your host, Judge Andrew Napolitano, here defending freedom, defending your natural rights, and defending your right to have a government that stays within the confines of the Constitution. Congressman Ron Paul's bill to audit the Federal Reserve is not only gaining enormous momentum, it's being joined by additional legislation introduced by Senators Jeff Merkley, Democrat of Oregon, and Bob Corker, Republican from Tennessee. But their version waters down Congressman Paul's bill, omits audits of important areas of the Fed's behavior, and actually whites out proper names of banks and other individuals. What kind of an audit is that? While all this is going on, a so-called conservative Republican Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina says he won't let Congressman Paul, quote, hijack the Republican Party. Here we go again. It's now my pleasure to introduce the object of Senator Graham's wrath. One of America's great defenders of freedom and liberty today, Congressman Ron Paul, joins us from our nation's capital. He is, of course, the author of the New York Times bestseller, End the Fed. Congressman Paul, welcome back to Freedom Watch. I guess it was
Judge. Good to be with you.
Thank you. I guess it was too good to be true to expect that a lot of liberal Democrats would be serious in their efforts of joining you in wanting to audit the Fed. What the heck are they trying to do in the Senate? What kind of an audit would it be if important parts of what the Fed does is not covered in the audit, and if they don't give the proper names of the people with whom the Fed does business?
It doesn't do any good at all. I mean, maybe slight, but under the condition of canceling out what we're doing, yes, it would be quite harmful to us. But, you know, Corker, I believe, is a Republican that's doing it. And I wouldn't write off all the Democrats in the House because they're not running the show. I think what this is representing is the effort by the establishment, Wall Street, by Goldman Sachs, by the Federal Reserve, saying, look, let's distract them from what a real audit would do. And I think that's what's going on right now. But we will not back down. We're going to demand that it be a full, honest audit of the Federal Reserve, or we shouldn't accept it.
You know, there's a couple ways to look at this. I remember when you were a lone voice in the Congress, almost literally standing totally alone in arguing that we all need an audit of the Fed. You now have more than half of your colleagues on your side. That's an enormous stride, and it's due totally to your single-minded dedication and, I might add, explanation to your colleagues and to the country of the need for auditing the Fed. That's the good side. The bad side is they're afraid of an audit, and they've gotten their allies in Congress to try and water it down. So it will look like they're going along with the audit, but the fruits of their audit will be bitter and tasteless and dry and not revealing anything.
That's right, and it would be a distraction if anybody becomes satisfied with this. I think the most important part of my bill, and the one area that the Fed seems to be most resistant to, is this opening up of the books of what they do with other governments, other central banks, and international financial organizations. I think that's where the real shenanigans go on, and they don't want to have any part of this. So they're going to pretend that they're going to open up these lending facilities to some degree and say, oh yeah, we're finding out where this money went, you know, domestically. And maybe we will find out a little bit more information, but that won't touch the foreign operations, because when you think about it, when you can make a deal and promise money and loans to foreign central banks to get involved in the market and do some of your dirty work, I think they're propping up markets, and who knows what kind of mischief they're involved in. So I think they are very, very determined to stop what we're trying to do and get these books open. But the more they obstruct, the more attention we're going to get, and the more the people of this country will realize how necessary this audit is.
Before I let you go, switching gears, what is Lindsey Graham worried about? What does he mean Ron Paul might hijack the Republican Party?
He's sort of giving me a lot of credit, isn't he? I can hijack the party. I'd like to influence the party. I'd like to suggest to them that they ought to, you know, follow up on what they claim they believe in. But this whole idea, now, I guess he wants to have influence too, but his views are quite different than mine. You know, he supports cap and trade, and he supports many big government programs, but he sees himself as a facilitator. He's supposed to give half of the pie away, and if the Democrats want a program, he'll give them 50%. He'll claim this is a big victory. So his approach is quite different, which he has a right to, but this idea that all of a sudden I'm going to hijack the party, but I think if you talk to the young people of this country who may well become the leaders of the country and maybe Republicans, they ought to listen to what they're asking for. I don't think it's the policy of Lindsey Graham in any way whatsoever.
Congressman Paul, it's always a pleasure. Thanks for joining us on Freedom Watch.
Thank you.